Welcome to the 3Haunted podcast, where we bring you all things horror, supernatural, folklore, mythology, and all things that go bump in the night.
Hey guys, this is your co-host Ashley Lunar Goddess, Gorilla Girl filmmaker and horror-loving cinephile. I'm just your average pun-making swearwolf that loves to explore the spookier things in life.
I'm your co-host John Thomas, paranormal investigator, super smartass, and film lover extraordinaire.
What's up, ghouls, gals, and all my geeks of horror pals? In today's episode, we have the awesome Robb Moreira. Robb is a successful voiceover actor, a down-to-earth New York City boy. In Robb's words, forget about it.
That was good. That was pretty New York.
I think you do it better. There you go.
Hey, forget about it. It doesn't get more New York than that, unless you order a coffee, in which case you're ordering a coffee.
Coffee.
But first, a word from our network sponsor.
Are you looking for more awesome podcasts? Head on over to withoutyourhead.com for access to the Without Your Head podcast network, where you'll find a variety of podcasts sure to keep you entertained and coming back for more. All right, Jonathan Thomas, bring us back.
Welcome back, everybody. Like Ashley said, we have the awesome, amazing Robb joining us tonight. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Moreira.
Yeah, I'm not trying that. Sorry.
I just had to try it again. I have to redeem it.
That was good.
Until it feels like really good.
That's good. I mean, considering how badly it's been butchered, that's like you're basically saying it perfect. I mean, it's been butchered to hell.
I'll take the basic. I'll be that basic witch.
Moreira. I'm like
Maria.
what?
Robb Moreira.
Yeah,
Robb
like, I get some
Moreira.
bad ones, or they like just blatantly wrong, like Morales. It's like, whoa, you just added letters. All right,
Right?
Just I don't even know where to go with that.
like, there's
one.
no L or S in there, but all right, sure.
It's all right. We got Spider-Man with us. Sweet.
I know, right?
Then that's when you just start being called Miles, and it's like that's not even my name. Like
Yeah.
what is it? Yo, Miles.
It's like, is it me? You talking to me? Damn.
Is it me?
All right. Is that
Go
who
get
I
a
am now?
coffee.
Gotta get a coffee. Forget about it.
I love it. So I'll be honest, I've worked with a lot of East Coast people, and I love listening to East Coast people talk. And I will like lean into it and just watch their mouths to figure out like how the hell did you say that? And it's great.
It's interesting too, because like in our little cluster, because everybody, people think about New York and they usually just think about New York City, as opposed to New York State. But within the little 20 miles that is New York City and Long Island, there's like 12 accents. It's like ridiculous. Like there is a Queensness, a Brooklynness, a Bronxness. There's a Lower East Side specifically of the city, and there's an Upper East or West Side kind of affectation to the way people speak. And same thing with Long Island. Yeah, it's crazy.
So Captain America was right?
Oh yeah, no, it's crazy. You could tell like almost like borough wise where people are from in New York City. It's that specific.
If you're from New York City, because anybody else,
If
it
you
all
were born
sounds the same.
Yeah, if you were born here, natives is where you hear the accents. At this point, like that's how you know who's a New York native, because we got a lot of transplants now. So the specific accent is kind of like dissipating.
So you can tell when people are faking it too.
Yeah, I mean, usually it's when somebody doesn't have a very obvious accent, and they and then they complain about people who are like not real New Yorkers. It's like, are you a real New Yorker? Well, no, but I've lived here for like 7 years. I'm basically a real New Yorker. It's like, you don't get to own that. You weren't born here. You don't own that.
I mean, but they pay the New York prices, don't they?
Hey, they pay the prices, but they don't get the they weren't raised here. If you weren't
They didn't do
raised
the
here,
hustles.
don't count.
They didn't go to the
Yeah.
primary schools, right?
Exactly. You weren't cutting classes and going to arcades like we did. It's not the same. It's not the same.
It's not the same.
Not the same.
See, now you know why I like Robb. He cracks me up. Like, we met because John's gonna ask, how did you guys meet?
Oh, yes.
I know
Always.
it.
I have to.
So yeah, Rob and I met at SAC Anime. He was brought in as a voiceover actor talent. I was there with a different voiceover actor talent, being more of like a rep. That was cool. Now, who was the show you were coming with that they brought you specifically for? Which
it
anime?
was called Fena Pirate Princess. It was anime on Toonami, on the Adult Swim block of Toonami on Cartoon Network. It was cool at the time. The show already had been. I think we had just celebrated its year basically of it being out. And they got everybody in the cast together because the Fena was the main character, but we were all kind of a crew, and they actually brought the whole cast out, which was interesting because a lot of us were. It was kind of split. Half of us were West Coast, half of us were East Coast. But even those on those coasts, we never saw each other because we recorded it all during the pandemic. So we didn't actually meet until the convention. That was the first time we ever met in person, all of us. So it was really interesting because it was kind of like, you have a face in real life. Look at you. You're a real person. You're not a robot AI thing. You're actually a human being. So yeah, it was pretty cool.
I think you could tell because like watching all of you get together in the mornings, like at the hotel, you just a big crowd, and they're like, "Hey!" and it's super fast. It wasn't like people that have worked together for 30 years and they're like sick of each other. It was like, it's
And
my
that's the
buddy.
thing. A lot of us, we all kind of like ran in the same circles, but it was the first project that we all did where we all kind of felt like close to each other. Usually you do a show like that and you kind of like, all right, it's done. And then you just, move to the next one. But this one, like after it was done, there was such a big love from the fans, and then just through us, we just all like clicked really well, which is hard to do considering there's 8 of us. It's like it's hard to get 8 personalities that all jive together. Like that's kind of unheard of.
That was pretty cool.
But it worked out. It was cool. It was dope.
Yeah, and to your point, like the voiceover community, especially like in the US, it's not huge. Like there are a lot of people, but it's not as big as people think it is. And so it was, so you all hear of each other or know of each other at some point, I'm sure.
Right.
But finally getting to meet had to be exciting.
Yeah, and also, be in a project together too. Because Brittany Cox, who was Fena in it, like I had heard of her and I knew her work. So being in a project with her and also be basically her guy was like, oh, snap, like talk about a hell of a intro. You know what I mean? Like, hey, what's up? I love your work. By the way, we're love interests apparently. So there's that.
I'm your boyfriend now, Heather. So
I'm your daddy.
I'm your daddy.
I'm your daddy now, girl.
Oh my goodness. And it's that kind of show now. See, it just works.
Oh yeah.
But I remember too, because like when you go to these shows, especially for the shows that aren't like super huge, they don't really separate like the professionals and the talent from like the congoers, like at hotels. They usually just kind of keep the hotels. This is where we have space blocked out. So I remember I was like, I'm gonna go to the gym every day. It's gonna be great. I'm gonna keep that fitness journey going. And I went to the gym the first day the first morning I was staying there, and it was empty other than this lady who was on a bicycle, and she had like zero expression on her face.
The angry lady.
Yeah, she was like,
She looked pissed.
She was
She was
getting
like,
it.
why am I here?
And she wouldn't
Why am
make
I
eye
doing
contact,
this?
but she
Yeah,
was
no,
like,
not
I'm
at
going
all.
to get it. And so I'm in there with her for a while, and then Rob came in at some point. And you don't assume, like, this is downtown Sacramento. You don't assume this is a convention goer. This is going to be someone, who's attending Sac Anime. And so he comes in, and we're all working up a sweat, and we're getting it. And it's just, like, power. Even Angry Lady. I remember I had accidentally left one of my Bluetooths. So I had left. Like, I left. He was still getting his sweat on. And I came back 45 minutes later because I'm like, I can't find my Bluetooth case. It's got to be in there somewhere. I had to leave it at the gym. And this gym, by the way, was fucking weird because it's a hotel gym, but you had to go outside of the hotel and up the block
Yeah,
to get to the
it
gym.
was weird. I was so confused. I was like, is this really part of the hotel? This seems Like
don't
I'm
think
going
it is.
to a gym.
Yeah, I know. I think we just left. Like, this is not part of this is not connected to the hotel. We went up half the block, but I was like, all right, this is the hotel gym. The key worked, so here we go. But I remember I had to go all the way back to get my Bluetooth case, walk in, and now the gym's packed. And he's still in there with his friends, and they are having they are cheering each other on, and it's like a party in there. They're like, people are lifting, and they're like, whoop, whoop, whoop. And I know, it was like a full event. I'm like, where was this when I was here? God damn.
Right. That's the way it should be, though. Like, seriously, everybody just getting everybody pumped. Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
And they were hyped. They were having
Like,
a good
I don't work out quiet, man. I want to like bang things and yell at each other and smack each other like, lift heavier.
And they were smacking each other. It was hilarious. And I was like, this is awesome. And of course he sees me and he's like, she's back in here. And I'm like, I left my Bluetooth case.
Yeah, I was like, oh, okay.
And I grabbed it and took off. Like, off I go. And then later in the day, I remember, I don't even know. Was it that night I was sitting in the hotel?
Yeah, it was like later that afternoon or something. Like we were just kind of all hanging out. I remember I was hanging out with everybody, and we had that acknowledging
look at each other.
I see you, and you're seeing me. We're seeing each other, and we know who we are. And then it got to that point where we held a little too long, and it was like, well, now I gotta say something. Now we're just kind of staring at each other. This is just weird.
We held each other too long.
Yeah, we're just like, the look of recognition went beyond the point of normal. So
way to make it awkward, Rob.
I know. It was just like, if I don't say anything, then it's weird. Because then I didn't want you to end up thinking, like walking away like, wow, that guy just stared at me for a while. It's not like he didn't know who I was, weirdo. You know what I mean?
You don't have to know who I am. I'm like a nobody. But
I know. But that's how you meet new people.
it was funny. Yeah, and he came up because, so I had been sitting there waiting. I had escorted some of our, the company I was working for that weekend. I escorted some of their talent back to the hotel, and I was waiting for some of the others to come back down because we were going to do something else. And I'm sitting there on the lobby has those couches in most hotels. So I'm sitting on the couch, and then I see this whole group, and it's rowdy. They're having fun. They're happy. And I'm like, that is such a happy group. And then I saw him, and I'm like, oh, hey, that's the dude from the gym. They were getting rowdy earlier. And it was fun. They have such a happy, infectious vibe. You can't help but smile. And that's probably why he's like, why is she staring at me so much? And I'm like, they're having so much fun. I'm like, I want to be a part of that group. How do I get in with that squad? They're like squad goals. And and then he came over and he's like, okay, this is the third time I've seen you today. And if I see someone 3 times, I have to say hello.
Gotta say hi.
Makes complete sense.
And I was like, what's up? Can I be a part of your squad?
Can I party with you? I want to party
Can we
with
lift
you.
weights and yell at each other and slap each other? Because that'd be cool.
There you go. That's how all friendships start. Smacking and
is.
having a great time. Lifting weights.
That's how my friendships start. But
Sounds about right.
Damn right.
I know we're gonna get to horror at some point, but no, his story is pretty cool because I saw him the next day at the gym again, and that lady on the bike, she actually smiled at me. I walked in and she's hardcore on the bike, making a face again, and I'm just like, oh. And then I walked by and she made eye contact with me, and this time she actually smiled, and I'm like, it's gonna be a good day.
She thought the same thing. She was just like, well, we recognize each other now. It'd be rude if I didn't.
It'd be rude not to. Exactly. Then it'd be awkward.
Yeah, then it would be awkward.
Yeah, she ended up smiling. But I remember he was already there, and I got on the treadmill next to him, and I'm like, I'm so tired. I don't even want to be here. But we ended up amping each other up. It's like, we got this.
Yeah.
One more. You got it. Push. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, man.
And I'm just like, I wish I could have him at the gym all the time with me. But Rob here told me an awesome story about his journey. Would you be cool sharing your journey over COVID and your fitness? Because I thought that was hella inspiring.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, it was 2020. It was August of 2020, and it was I was 363 pounds at the time, rather large fella, and I had no medical issues or anything. There's nothing wrong with me. Doctor was like, "You're fine. You should, at some point, you should look to lose some weight, but you're young, you got time, but your time's a wasting. In August of that year, there was no rhyme or reason. Nothing spurred it. It was literally like the middle of the night, and I just decided, like, you know what? Kind of had enough of this. Maybe I should lose some weight. I had done it before, so I was kind of like, now's the time. I don't know what it was, but something just like just a switch turned on in my head. And between August of 2020 till about, up till August of 2021, I lost 90 pounds in that year. And then from 21 to now 22, I lost another 40 pounds. So I'm down 130 total at the moment. And it was just, starting off incredibly slow, and, just focusing on what I was going to eat, not eating like a jerk. It was kind of my rule. Stop eating like a jerk. Actually make proper choices.
I need to put that on a sticker for myself.
Yeah,
Stop eating like a jerk.
Don't eat like a jerk. It's a lot easier than we think. Ultimately, everybody knows how to lose weight if they want to. We just choose not to. That's really what it is. It is a choice. You can choose. So I just chose to change my overall lifestyle and how I ate and how I operated. And I started really just with the food aspect. That's really the easiest one, because the exercising is not the fun part. That's the hard part. But the one really where you lose the weight is the eating. People tend to get that confused. They think it's just working out is where you lose weight. It's really how you eat that's going to have you lose weight. Exercising just tones everything out and shapes you up, hence the body building. Like, that is actually what happens to your body. Your body does physically transform if you stay consistent. So I went from just eating better I did that for maybe like 2 months, maybe 3 months. And then I introduced exercises, and I was only doing 2 workouts a week. Then 3, then I did 4, and at the moment I work out anywhere between 5 to 6 times a week, twice a day.
Yeah, you're kickboxing. Awesome. I don't even know how to say it. Like, you're just a kickboxing. Yeah. I can't even say it. Look, tongue twister. Kickboxing ass kicker. There we go.
There you
Woo!
go. Yeah.
Words, what are they?
Yeah. Do a lot of weightlifting, a lot of HIIT and cardio, and kickboxing. Thai kickboxing is really what I do the most. So at the moment, I'm gearing myself up to lose an extra 40 pounds, because hopefully I would like to get in the ring next year at some point. So we'll see.
That'd be awesome. You also worked with a trainer, right, to build up like your running endurance?
Yes. I had a personal trainer at the gym. I was with her for about 6 months, and we did a lot of upper body training, because as she discovered, my push strength was really good, chest and triceps, but my pull strength was much less developed, my back and my biceps. So that's what we ended up working on, so that I can actually do pull-ups. That was the only workout that I was never able to do. I could do push-ups, I could do sit-ups. My core is incredible. But when it came to pulling myself up, I couldn't do it. So if I was on a cliff, I was gonna die. So I was just like, all right, goal. I need to be able to pull myself up if I'm on a cliff. Don't die. That was literally my goal. So now I'm up to 3 pull-ups clean at the moment. So
that's a big deal.
Small wins. That's huge. It's huge. It was huge for me. So I'm at 3. Hoping to push to 10.
Yeah, I have the reverse problem. I have weak push, mad pull.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, when she told me that, I was like, oh, I didn't know that's how we broke it up, but there you go.
It's a thing. Different muscle groups. Taking it from the front to the back of the body or reverse. It's just, it all has to work together.
Yeah. So it took a while. It's been over 2 years now, and it's a process. Every day's a challenge. Every meal is a challenge. Getting up to work out again, especially that second time around, is always a challenge. It's a constant battle, but it's really just about how can you self-motivate yourself. And once you do it enough, you kind of realize, like, man, I really did make a difference. Like, I totally look different from what I did, literally only 2 years ago. It's not a long time, really, when you consider it. And when you see the differences, from one picture to the other, it's like, holy crap, it's like a totally different person. And the things that I'm able to do now, I was never able to do, even when I was thinner. So I'm thinner and I'm stronger. So it's like I just understand my body more now.
There's a really big mental transformation too that goes on. Like, holy shit, I am capable of stuff that I didn't think I could be capable of. And like, I can do this. I believe in myself. And I like myself. I like the way I feel. I like that I'm capable. Like there's a lot I feel like that happens in that journey. So
yeah, 100%. I think the most amazing thing is that, you know, whenever I posted about it, you know, I posted it just for like my own accountability. But at the same time, you know, people were seeing me and they were kind of asking questions. So I was like, oh, maybe I should put it out there because it's not like I lost 10 pounds. Like I lost, I lost an adult. I lost an adult person's worth of weight. You know what I mean? So that's why I started posting about it. And when I started posting about it, I didn't realize how many people were actually watching what I was doing when I posted. They never commented. They would like, but I didn't realize how many people were paying attention, one, and two, were using me as the reason why they started to do what they did. So like I had family members that were like, yeah, you know, I lost like 20, 30 pounds. Like thanks for posting. And it was just so interesting how many people have been like, man, you're so inspiring. And I'm like, I would never have, had you never said it, I never would have known. You know, to me, it's like, I'm just posting into the ether. And if somebody sees it, cool. If somebody doesn't, whatever, it's all good. It's more like I'm posting for me, just for my own,
tracking your journey.
Track. Yeah, just my own tracking. But I didn't realize how many people were being affected by it at the same time, which was really interesting.
There's a lot of lurkers out there.
Yeah, a lot of lurkers.
Speaking of lurkers, it's spooky season, baby. There's all the spookiness out. So
the best time of the year.
One of the things we talked about on the treadmill was how much we love horror.
That doesn't surprise me. That's got to come up all the time.
Everywhere I go. Everywhere I go.
Yeah.
That's my like gauge of people. Like the litmus test of people is,
right.
Hey, do you like horror? And if someone's like, no, I hate it, and I'm like, we're not gonna get along.
Peace out. See ya. Yep.
I hear you. You know, and you know, for me, it's like it's also a good gauge depending on what kind of movies they've seen, what kind of horror is like on their resume. You know, what's on your horror resume, and I feel like that also like says the kind of person you are. Because like if you look at somebody, you're kind of like, oh, Halloween, yeah, great movie, and then you're like, Inside, and if like you don't get like, and if you don't get a like, oh, what's that? It's like, oh, all right. Okay, I know where you're at. I know where
they're at on the scale.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's always good.
Or the ones that are like, I love horror. I like Hocus Pocus. It's like, oh.
It's like, oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
You like
I like the pet. Oh.
You're so new.
Pretty.
You're so new to this.
I'm so precious. So
that's when you take those and then you make them watch something really fucked up and see if they can handle it.
It's like, this is a really great movie. It's tame. It's called Martyrs, but you'll enjoy it.
Oh my God. You're traumatizing people?
Why not?
Minds melted.
Yes.
Minds melted, hearts broken, minds. Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah.
That's an experience. Martyrs is not for the casual horror movie.
It's a rough watch.
Person,
that's a rough watch. You have to be prepared to sit and watch that.
Yeah, you have to be like, there are a few movies out there that you just have to be prepared for because they are going to fuck you up. Martyrs is by far one of those like top ones that it's like, I don't recommend that to people unless it's like,
no.
How many years have you been watching horror? Actually, I just gauge it out. Like, so how did you do with the Saw movies? Oh man, those were hard. Don't watch Martyrs.
Good to know. Don't go beyond that.
Not that they're the equivalent, but if you can't stomach Saw, there's no way in hell you're going to be able to like stomach Martyrs at all.
Oh, hell no.
So, that's just where I'm like, how'd you do with Saw? Oh man,
that's a good one. That's awful. A good question. That's actually a great gauge. That's a great gauge. It's a good marker because I would say that's probably like the higher end of like regular domestic horror. I'd say that's probably like the hardest. I think.
Yeah, when we come to like that visceral kind of torture horror, not even torture, but just like the gory torture kind of stuff.
The gory stuff.
Yeah, that's like on the higher end of that. So if like you can stomach that. try Martyrs. But if it's like, man, I couldn't do it, then
Stay away.
Martyrs is not the film for you.
Watch Hocus Pocus.
Oh,
Watch Hocus
there you go.
Pocus. And I know Martyrs is one of your favorites. So
It is.
What is it that
It
like
is.
you love about that? Like, why is that one of your favorites? Is it because it fucks you up?
Well, the reason for the reason for why everything that transpired, I think is like crazy. You know, what they do with it, with the information, the fact that the lady she got the information she wanted and even then realized this was something we can't handle.
We can't.
You know what I mean? That's so wild to me because it plays with the idea of the unknown. What did she hear? What was she told? What was it that she saw? So I feel like that's really that's a play on the unknown that I actually really enjoy. That, and I feel like sometimes horror movies suffer from the 30 to 35 minute buildup, and sometimes that buildup is slow or boring, and I don't know about you guys, but sometimes there's some movies where I watch them, horror movies that I watch them, and I'm going like, okay, where's the first kill? The minute that I say that, I feel like this movie's a little slow. It's a little slow for me. And Martyrs doesn't do that. You're lucky if you get 5 minutes before the first gunshot gets done. And I'm like, yeah, all right, I like this. Like we hit the track running. So I actually really appreciated that. And then smack in the middle, after everything in the house transpired, you got a moment to breathe between, obviously, the lead then getting trapped herself. There was like a moment to breathe and kind of wonder, okay, wait, where's this going? Oh yeah, there is more movie. And a lot more movie.
Yeah, we're only halfway
Yeah, it's
in.
like there's a lot of movie left. Wait, where is this going? And I like that there was that nice hard turn. It almost feels like two movies. It's like it feels like two short films. And it's just bridged together by that little like piece of meat in the middle, to give you that final big blast at the end. I just think overall, like the writing was spot on. It was just so well done. It was incredibly well shot. The horror was when you can feel it in your gut, that they're doing some really good effects, some really good practical effects there.
They got you.
So yeah, it was just there was so much. It was just there. I can only sing its praises. There, I feel like a lot of horror movies, you can find a handful of things that you probably didn't like. I feel like that's a movie that it's hard to find what you couldn't like. Like you really got to dig to find something bad about that film.
Yeah, and I'm with you because I think that like with that one, it's any film that comes out the gate swinging when they hit hard. You have to be able to know when to pace that down because you start so intense. Like to really get people on that roller coaster, right? Bring them up, take them down, bring them up, pace it out. And so that one did really well with that. But yeah, because I feel like there are films that will start like just swinging right out the gate.
Yeah,
and
I love that.
Yeah, I do too. It's just when they stay hard hitting the entire time, you're exhausted by the end, right? When it's just like
exactly,
boom, boom,
and you don't
boom.
want that. Yeah,
and I feel like Martyrs did a really good job of not doing that. They knew when to like ease up off the gas just enough and then hit it again. And so I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, for sure.
Still a fucked up movie.
Oh, 100%.
What's another favorite of yours?
I love how meta Cabin in the Woods is. I like that is such a meta movie. I love that. Like it knows what it is. It knows what it is and it plays with the themes of horror, and I like that it kind of like twists it around on its head to give you a completely unique experience, cuz nobody else can make a movie like that at this point. Like it's been done. Like the gag's been done. You can't make more movies that play like that. You know what I mean? But I really enjoy how that movie played out. I think another one in that vein where it kind of plays with the genre was Tucker and Dale versus Evil. I thought that movie was genius. I'm like, this isn't like Sam Raimi funny where it's still scary, but funny. Like, this purposely knows it's trying to be comedic with its horror, and I appreciate that. I really enjoyed that, and also playing with the horror tropes of people being so freaked out that they walk into their own demises. I thought was so genius. I was like, this is amazing. These, like, the killer in the movie is the horror tropes of these victims. I thought that was kind of funny. There was no killer.
They're doing it to themselves.
Yeah, I thought that was so smart. Like, that was so intelligent. And I like movies like that are just, those, I feel like those are fun because they're kind of playing with what horror movies are. And I thought that was really cool.
I love horror movies like that, though. Like, there's a space for them, and I love it. There was one, I don't even remember what it's called, but it was on demand, and it was about zombies. And normally, I'm not really, like, I don't gravitate. That's not my first choice, but it was about zombies, and it was one of those zombie movies where it's set in, like, this ghost town of, like, or small town, and zombies take over, but it's so funny. And it's not, like, accidentally funny. Like, this is so poorly done that it can't be funny. Like you said, they're trying to be funny. And
they know what they're doing.
Yeah, they're leaning into the comedy. Like, I think at some point, like, there's music playing as the zombies are swarming the house. And then they stop and do, like, basically a flash mob dance. And at some point, they invoke a part of, like, the Thriller dance for just a moment. And then it's like, oh my God, before they attack. And it's like, oh my God, this is cool. Hilarious. And the fact that the characters, like, because you're thinking, okay, how are they going to play that off? And the main characters that are locked in the house themselves are like, are they dancing? Why are those dances? I didn't know zombies could dance. Why are the zombies dancing?
Oh, God.
And so then you're laughing even harder because they're acknowledging how absurd that is that there are zombies dancing. It's so funny.
You're going to have to figure out what the hell that's called because now I kind of want to watch it. At first I was thinking it was Cooties with Elijah Wood, but that's a whole different thing. That movie was weird too, but I kind of liked it. But yeah, you'll definitely have to try to figure that out because I want to watch whatever the hell that was.
Yeah, I know as soon as I
awesome.
find it, I'll send it to you. As soon as I see it, I'll have to Google and see if I can find it because what I basically do is I'm an insomniac. And so while everyone else is asleep, I will just randomly sort through, like, go on demand. It's kind of like your Blockbuster, right? Go and pick all the movies. So I'm like, okay, I already watched that one, not going to watch that, and just go through. Whatever pops up. And that happened to be one that popped up back in the day. And I was like, sure, let's go with it. And I was laughing so hard. Like, yeah, I don't normally do zombies, but this is hilarious.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of zombied out myself. Like, they, don't get me wrong. There are some gems that are out there, but after a while, it's kind of like, oh, it's another zombie-esque movie. Okay, I get it. Like, I guess I kind of know where that's going.
That's how I feel with all the Exorcism movies anymore. It's like now after The Exorcist, I'm just like, and The Exorcism of Emily Rose, that one was one of my favorites. That one scared the shit out of me. But like,
that one was really good. But yeah, you kind of go like, all right, people getting possessed again. Things are gonna go flying around again. Somebody's gonna talk in a weird ancient language again. Okay, like what else are we gonna like? You could write a movie,
Sounds like a Friday night in my house. Heads are spinning.
Oh God.
I think I'm gonna have to look it up, but I think it's The Dead Can't Dance is what it's called. But I will have to double check. But it's so random. Like, I don't even know.
There's also one called The Dead Don't Die. That's with Bill Murray. But that was slow. That was a slow one. But the previews made it look really good. It was okay. But
I also like what I really enjoy is like finding ones that like you don't get a lot of fanfare, but like end up being way better than you thought. And I think it's because you go in with such a low bar because you're like, nobody's talking about this crap. This can't be any good. Right. And then you watch it, you're like, whoa, this is actually way better than I anticipated. That happened to me with Oculus. You guys,
yes,
you guys
that
see
was
Oculus?
Such a great movie. My daughter and I, we loved that movie.
I'm actually with you on that. I didn't think it was going to be good. And then I finally caved in and watched it on one of those insomnia nights. And I'm like, oh, fuck. I was
Yeah,
wrong.
I was like, hold on. I was like, this is way too good. I was like, did I come in with too low a bar? Because this was way better than I
I
thought.
said it too low.
Yeah, I was like, I set the bar way too low.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I originally watched it for Karen Gillan, so I love her.
Ah.
She's
I don't blame you.
a thing
She's
for
gorgeous.
redheads, and she's Scottish too. So it's like
Right
fuck,
there with
boom.
you.
Yep.
I'm right there with you.
Yes.
Yeah, man. Yeah, so I really appreciated Oculus. I was very very surprised at that movie. I like finding movies like that, like by accident.
Yes.
You know, that it's kind of like, well, it says horror. I guess I'll press play. And then it finishes, and you're like, thank God I pressed play. What was I thinking? I should have seen this ages ago. And that also happened to me with The Babadook.
Oh, okay.
See, I wasn't a fan.
That one I really enjoyed. But I appreciate a good monster under your bed story. I liked that. But spirits and stuff like that, or like things that are kind of seen but not seen, don't always grab me. I think I appreciated it because I didn't know that's where it was going.
Right.
So I didn't have a preconceived notion.
You have to do it effectively. It's with monsters that you cannot see. Even with the monsters you can't see, no matter what you're doing, monsters you can see, those have to be done well. Because if they look like too CGI or they look too, I guess, animated, then it's like, this is a fucking cartoon. But when you get, that's why I miss, side note, practical effect monsters, because those, it's like, ooh, that looks super real. All right, I'm into it. That's a monster. But I don't know. I watched a film a while ago that they did both. There were two monsters in the house. One was practical effects, and you could tell, and it's like, ooh, that's scary. That's, oh yeah. And then the other one, I don't know why, but they had CGI'd it completely. And so it felt animated. And so I felt like I kept crossing over in the same movie between like a horror film and like a Goosebumps, like Nickelodeon film. And I'm like, this is a mess. Like, you should have just picked one, because it really only, like, the CGI one really only highlighted just how strong the practical one looked. But then it also made the other one look really cartoony. So,
speaking of cartoons, and I'm going to get grief for this one, and I don't care, but Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island was a freaky-ass fucking cartoon. They did so good on that one. I was like, holy shit, they made Scooby-Doo scary. Like, what the hell? But so
Amazing.
that's like 1991 or 2000 something. I can't remember, but it was. Yes, watch it.
Props to the Mystery Man.
Yes.
Mystery Man.
I'm all about the
That's
Scooby
amazing.
Gang. But were you high when you were watching that?
No. Not at
It's
all.
like, that was mad scary. Oh, man.
Dude, it was creepy, man.
I mean, there's stuff that creeps me out that probably shouldn't, but like the zombies, my unnatural fear of zombies is like, makes zero sense to me, because I don't believe like there's gonna be some zombie apocalypse or my next door neighbor's gonna be like brains, but it just, there's something that fucks with me. So who knows? Maybe in my subconscious I believe it can happen. But I'm ready, man. I am archery trained. I am all sorts of like, you name it. I didn't get archery trained for that.
Sure you didn't.
I didn't. I just like archery.
I just did it for fun. Nobody believes you. Nobody believes you. Yes, because I learned how to throw a hatchet because I thought it was cool.
Have
Like,
you
no,
have you done
that actually-
tomahawk throwing? That's really fun.
Hell yeah.
That would
Hell
be fun,
It's
yeah.
awesome.
Like, it's a
I
lot
was
of
like,
fun.
you do it to a point. It's like, you know what? 10 shots. I hit about 8 bullseyes. Zombies ain't getting within 10 feet of me.
Right? At 8, they're not getting near me.
The other 2, hopefully somebody, hopefully you're there with you.
Someone else takes it out.
Arrow. Doing
Exactly.
some Legolas action.
Legolas.
Keep the other 2 away from me.
Oh, way up high, Legolas. I like that.
No, just so you know, after those 8, I mean, we're all screwed because I just threw my only 10 tomahawks. So
We gotta go
we're
get
done.
it out of them. Take the heads off.
Well, if you got the other 2 guys, but then
Yeah, if you're by yourself, you're kind of screwed.
Look, we
it's
got
kinda
a
over for
good
me.
team here. We have you throwing the tomahawks. We have John with like just a big axe to take the heads off, and then I'll do the bow.
Always effective.
I'll do the archery Legolas style and Lego Ashley. There's just there's
Lego
something
Ashley.
in there.
It just
Lego
sounds like
Ashley
a Lego Ashley. So
Lego
it's like I see
Ashley,
this
whatever.
little Lego Ashley figure.
with an archery.
Right.
Yeah,
Nice.
I
I don't know.
got
I kind of like fire, so I think I'll kind of stick with some Molotovs. Maybe I'll take the
Oh, that's
axes, but I'll
nice.
take some fire.
No, you got to dream
you
bigger.
go.
You need like one of those big ass fire guns.
A flamethrower. Hell yeah.
Yes,
Flamethrower?
that.
Yeah. All right.
Sorry,
I'm
my
down.
I mean,
brain.
if you could get your hands on them, I mean, there's only like 5 in existence now.
So get one made. Dream big, baby. So
Do it, homemade, DIY.
we probably would
my
not be the first people
flamethrowers.
to look up how to make a flamethrower.
Probably. Not.
I know. Zombie apocalypse happens. There's like 90 people with flamethrowers. It's like, oh,
We're
crap.
ready. Yo, who's
like,
laughing now,
Just when we
motherfuckers?
Just when we thought you were unique.
Right.
You're just like everybody else.
That's when you do like a double barrel flamethrower or some shit.
Yeah.
Just like.
Mind you guys are all like burning everybody down. Ashley's kind of like, there's nobody for me to shoot my arrow. They're all burning.
They're all burning.
They're all
They're all
burning.
burning. I can't shoot my arrow, then it'll melt, and then I waste it.
No, what you get is a flamethrower with a crossbow on top, so it's just as the flames are going.
Ooh,
There you go.
Okay.
Right? See,
Nice.
look, you gotta dream big
Now
in
we're
your
getting
apocalypse.
Tony Stark it up. Make it.
Right.
Gotta.
Build it.
I'm about
build
it.
Build
Oh
it.
man, that's funny.
I'm gonna go to a cave in the Middle East and force myself to build it like Tony Stark.
There you go.
There you go. You're like, you put yourself in there, right? It's like, yeah, I know, but I need to create this thing to escape when the zombies come. Like, all right, this guy's just crazy. Let's just leave him in there.
You know,
just leave
which
it there. It's
actually,
all right.
which begs the question of speaking of like Tony Stark and like, let's think about the Iron Man suit. Why in all these zombie movies have people not created like the just suits bite proof, like just leather up, like full slave suit if you have to, like go BDSM, wear that full suit. No human teeth are biting through that. Like even if you're a zombie, you're gonna bite through that.
Yeah, Michelle Pfeiffer's
That's
Catwoman
true.
had it right. So there you go. Ain't
you
nobody
go.
biting that.
Or just walk around in those like dog training suits.
Yeah.
The first
Right,
thing
just
you
walk
need to
around
do
like,
is go to like those Planet of Holly, or what are they called? I don't even remember. The old school adult shops. Anyways, go to an adult shop, swarm the adult shop, go in and just leather up. It's like
Leather up.
dodgeball. And you were talking about
See a bunch
daddy
of
earlier,
You're gonna see a bunch of gimps walking around. Like, what is?
but they're
Wow,
alive,
the
right?
The apocalypse came and everybody turned into just
Look at that. It's a leather Legolas.
like, what?
She's not leaving the Legolas thing alone.
I dig it. I dig it.
I'm just saying, like, why have we not seen that? Like, everywhere in every, like, people have all these contraptions and they, like, super, like, I don't even know, like, souped up their cars and these zombie mobiles and, like, full-blown stuff. And everybody's just walking around with their necks exposed and their arms exposed and everything's, like, free out. And, like, wouldn't the first thing
true.
you do is say, you know what, I should cover up?
Right.
Which
Take
Which
care
is
of
funny
you
because,
first.
yeah, which is kind of funny. Like especially what was the this movie that just came out recently? It was the Zack Snyder one. They were in Vegas. That zombie flick
Oh yeah. I
that
can't
dropped
remember
like
the name of it.
like last year. Army of the Dead. Army of the
Yeah,
Dead.
that's it.
I mean, but Batista's a big dude. Dave Batista's a big dude.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he's clearly like a all-out soldier guy, but the guy's also walking around in a t-shirt. It's like, bro, you asking for them to take a bite out of that forearm, man.
That's just
Like
like
that-
a
What's
big
gonna
hunk
happen?
of
That's
meat.
like,
Come on.
I know, it's like I'm
Right?
hungry
Like-
and all they're envisioning is like a big floating turkey leg. Like, really, man?
You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like, your arms just look like just like you're giving them like these big pieces of meat that they can
Yeah.
aim for. It's like, what are you doing?
If they could drool,
What are you
they'd be
doing?
drooling.
You can feed a
You're
family
right.
with that bicep.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, dude, throw on like a flak jacket. Nobody needs to see your muscles in this. The zombies don't care. They're just hungry. You're showing them the buffet.
They're just
Put it away. Put it away. Maybe it works the same way. Maybe if you like completely covered up, they're like, well, there's no flesh on that thing that's
Right,
walking
fuck that
around.
guy.
Nah, I'm not interested. That thing is covered up. I don't know what's under there.
It's true. I
Maybe
mean, because
they're that dumb.
if zombies
much
are
work.
like brain dead, it's just a moving
Right.
tree.
Can you imagine how disappointing that would be in a zombie movie where that's how they get away with it? They're kind of like,
cover
guys,
up."
if we just cover ourselves up, they'll never attack us. And it's like, oh, okay, Finn. End of movie. Roll credits. So it was like, oh shit. All
There's
right.
probably some adult movie
That
out
was
there
easy.
though with like the Gimps during a zombie apocalypse. They're the only ones who survived. They like
you
left
go.
the dungeon, the private club, and zombies are out, and it's like they're not attacking us. You guys want to go home?
Leather-clad, depraved men and women walking around.
Daddy
You know,
choker on.
dominatrixes are walking around yelling at their
gagging off.
at their submissives. It's like, okay, dog, go kill that zombie. Yes, mistress.
Yes,
It's like, wow,
get him, pet.
the zombie apocalypse created a very weird society. At least women will run shit, so that's cool.
It doesn't that make sense though? The only ones that would survive would be like the heathens.
Oh yeah. Oh, for sure, absolutely.
We are survivors. All right.
All right, Beyonce.
Don't call me that. What would be another film favorite of yours? Another horror film. Spooky season.
Another good one. I think this one was classified as horror, probably more like a thriller horror. Was a Spanish flick called Kidnapped.
I don't
Or
think I've seen that one.
Secuestrados is what it was called in Spanish.
Secuestrados.
But in English it was called Kidnapped, and that movie was intense. That was an intense movie. It kind of feels like it's like a better version of The Strangers.
Okay.
It's like a better version of that.
I don't think I've seen that one.
It was good. It was on Netflix years ago. And I forgot who told me about it. Somebody told me about it. They were like, "Yeah, you got to check this out." And I think they redid it. I think they did an American version, and obviously it was no good. So if you watch the original Spanish one, like that one was really I was very surprised. It was actually a lot better than I thought. It was. There's not a lot that happens in terms of the gore, but it's a very edge of your seat kind of feeling throughout the entire movie. And then the end just makes you go, oh. So it's one of those kind of movies.
How did I miss it?
It's an ending kind of like The Mist's ending.
Oh. Okay.
Like it's like that. Like it ends and you're just like, oh no! Like you want to run out screaming, saying, "Why did it end this way? Why? I
Curses.
love it so much." You
I
know?
love it so
It's that kind of ending.
I love
that
it
kinda
so
ending.
much.
It's so good. I hate everything about it in a great way. So yeah, it kind of feels like that.
So you have the Latin background. Did you watch on Netflix The Old Ways?
No, I did not.
Okay. I think you might like that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was actually really impressed. Almost the entire film takes place in one room, which you have to have a strong ass story if you're gonna take place in one room. Yeah, like there's some other scenes that are done outside of the room, but most of it takes place inside of just the one room, and it's basically about this journalist, and she goes down to, I believe it's Mexico, to research this area that's supposed to have a lot of urban legends about like demons in the caves and like rituals and stuff like that. But she ends up being kidnapped, or not even kidnapped, held by this local medicine woman, like this curandera, and she's being like locked in this room, and they're like, "Nope, you have an evil entity inside of you. We can't let you leave until it's out." And she's like, "You're nuts. You're psychotic. And let me go. I'm a journalist. People are going to come looking for me." And they are like the things they put her through. It's just like, you wonder, like, are they messed up, or is just she really has something inside of her? And so it's nuts. And her cousin, who lives there, is the one that took her, because she found her passed out at the caves and took her to the curandera lady. And she's helping. And she's just like, "You gotta let me go." And her cousin won't like address her. And it's like, oh man.
Oh, that's screwed up. Oh, that sounds really cool.
Yeah, it's pretty wicked. But like for anyone who has, and like it's anyone, I will say, even if you're not Hispanic, people would still enjoy it. It's still really well done.
Interesting.
The story is awesome. The effects and like it's great. Anybody that has a Latin background, I think it's extra terrifying because especially if you did have relatives who believe some of those older traditional beliefs, you're like, oh shit.
Hitting a little too close to home there.
Hitting some buttons.
Yeah, no, I hear that. Yeah, I mean, that's one thing that I will say is that international horror has always kind of intrigued me more because they were never scared to really push the envelope, and they were never scared to kill their protagonists. I appreciate that. I like a story where you kind of feel like they may not make it. I hate the idea of watching a horror film and being able to be like, that's the survivor right there. I don't want to be able to be able to point that person out. You know, I mean, it even became a horror movie trope. The virgin always survives. You know, like it was that obvious. You know what I'm saying?
Well, we're all
like,
fucked.
I didn't. Oh,
Literally.
That's all
I was
right.
dead a long time ago. I'm
He's a
screwed.
zombie. Shoot him with your arrows.
I know. Unless the zombie is wearing a gimp outfit.
See?
Ha.
Ashley's eyes. I saw the
She didn't
wheels
think about
clicking.
that.
No.
I think she enjoyed the thought, though. She's gonna
No,
make that movie.
I was thinking more along the lines of the like if you have these group of people fighting zombies, they've got their gimp outfits on. They're probably still having fun. They're like, our world doesn't stop. We're killing zombies and we're still having fun.
Can you imagine that? Like a zombie like grabs him by the arm. They're like, yeah, harder.
Get it.
Like, what is happening?
Yeah, harder. The zombie's trying to bite them. Get it. Come on, harder.
Like, yeah, you bite me, you little bitch.
Are you even trying?
What's happening?
Zombie's like, I gotta go.
No.
I was like, what is happening here? My God.
See, exactly.
Part horror, part softcore porn. Enjoy.
There you go.
Right?
Isn't that like what makes the best movies? Hellraiser? Come on. Forget about it.
A little bit of this, a little bit of
that.
You know? Why not? Everybody's happy.
There you go.
It's like, I'm not into horror movies, but I love leather and lace.
Fuck the lace.
Like,
We're just sticking with the leather and the spikes.
I know, right?
So,
I have a special place in my heart for leather and chains. Well, boy, have I got the movie for you.
I have just the movie for you, I feel like that's what we need. People who aren't into horror. It's like, just tell me what you're into. I'll point you to the right horror movie for you.
Ooh, I like that. Go by their interests and then see if you can pinpoint. I mean, I'd say there's a horror movie out there for everybody.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
Even if it is Hocus Pocus. Or Scooby-Doo Zombie Island.
Or Scooby-Doo's
bite
Zombie
me.
Island.
This is not a zombie film, Daddy.
Damn it.
It counts.
It counts.
Totally counts. I'm scared.
You're scared.
I'm freaked out.
I'm scared. We're all scared. Freaking out, man.
Freaking out, man.
Oh, God.
But, I think there are, culturally speaking, we're just talking about what's going on in the world, the climate, because we've had people come on and talk about this is what's going on during that time that really caused these movies to be created, so they carry an extra punch. And I feel like that's why we get a lot of really stellar, spot-on, terrifying horror from international places because it is a little bit more gruesome. Like, the climate is a little bit more angry and scary and oppressed and suppressed. And, like, there's a lot going on. So I feel like their movies hit harder. And
yeah, I mean, some filmmakers have found an interesting way to have a kind of political, social, whatever you want to call it, commentary on life within a horror movie aesthetic, which is really cool. I think a movie that did that really well was in Spanish. It was called El Hoyo, but on Netflix it was called The Platform. I don't know if you guys saw that one. But The Platform was such a great. I mean, it was total social commentary. How did you guys see that one at all?
It was on my list, and I know somebody I know has watched it and talked to me about it, so I know a little bit about it.
Yeah, for me though, I don't mind when the symbolism is obvious, when the message is obvious. I don't mind it as long as the story is solid, as long as the visuals are solid. Like if it
Right.
feels like I'm in a moment in a story and I don't feel disconnected, I don't care if the message is obvious. Let it be obvious.
Yeah, obvious. Don't beat me over the head with it. Like there's a different. Like there is a line there.
Absolutely.
The platform absolutely does not go past that line. It's obvious, but it has a story to tell, which is great. So you could be totally oblivious to its symbolism and still enjoy what the movie's about. But if you're a little bit more savvy, and you kind of understand what they're talking about, you can appreciate that added layer to the movie, which I think is really cool. But yeah, it's definitely worth a watch. It's very interesting.
Yeah, I think all of Romero's films, all the zombie films were symbolism for social commentary, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Especially Land of the Dead. They went very obvious
Right.
with that one. And
Yes.
I was, like you said, it wasn't so over the head. They were like, oh, okay,
No.
I get it. But it was, to me, I know it's zombies, and I'm not really a zombie person, but I love the way he puts messages into his zombie movies.
Ash watching the movie as she sharpens her arrows, like everything's gonna
Here
be
we
okay.
go.
Everything's gonna be okay.
I'm ready, motherfuckers. Come and get me.
Everything's gonna be fine.
Where's my gimp suit? Everything's gonna be fine.
She's got that one zombie she's watching in the movie. She's like, I'm coming for you, fucker.
I'm getting you first. You look like an ex. You're first.
I swear to Christ, if I see something like this, he's going first.
I'm shooting him in the balls. No, I'm kidding.
There you go.
You're not
Whoa.
kidding, though. That's the thing.
Kidding, not kidding.
Hashtag not kidding. Okay. Yeah. I feel like I'm just going to have to get a list from you of international films that I need to watch because.
Yeah. I definitely gravitate to the international stuff more. I feel like the Spaniards did really, really well with horror. I mean, it also helps because I can watch it in its original language and and really see what it's about. Because sometimes the translations aren't. Not that they're off, but you do lose there is something that you lose in translation. So that's actually really nice, being able to watch them in Spanish and really kind of admiring. I think the first movies that I did that with where I purposely made the effort to watch it in Spanish was the Rec movies. Mm-hmm. Those were the first ones that I was kind of like, all right, you know what? Like I put it on, it started off in English and I was like, you know what? Let me put it in Spanish. Let me hear it in its original and see how it is. And ever since then, if it's a Spanish horror flick, I take the English dubbing out. I'm like, no shade to my dubbing voice actors because I'm one of them, but yo hablo español, so I'm gonna watch it in Spanish. So I'm gonna watch it in Spanish, and it really adds to it.
In the old ways, they do. I mean, it's predominantly in English, but but when she's interacting with the curandera and the assistant, they are speaking in Spanish, and they automatically dub it in, and
right.
It's just part of the titles in the film. But I'm with you where like you automatically read it because it's on the screen, but I'm also listening, and I knew a few times I paused because I'm like, wait, that's not what she said.
Yeah, it's like that's kind of what she said, but that's not
general
actually
idea,
what she said.
But there's more to that. There's more to that
Like,
context.
the
She said
idea is
so
accurate.
much
Yeah.
more, and
Right.
so it's just like, huh?
Right.
And to me, it's like, oh man, if you could have just hit pause and explain that more to people that don't speak that language and say, look,
Yeah.
that statement she just made carries a lot more. Like, yes, it's kind of basically what she said, but the context carries so much more, and so it hits harder.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah.
And as speaking as somebody who has dubbed stuff from Spanish to English, there is a reasoning for those changes. A lot of those changes are actually done on the fly. While they're being recorded, sometimes that's when they actually change what the line says. More often than not, it's a timing issue, because if you said exactly what the person said, like full on translated, sometimes it's too many words. And because they're speaking in their own colloquialism, and because it's being translated, it's not necessarily the way we speak. when it's rewritten, it's written into an American colloquialism. So that's why it's always a general idea of what they're saying and sometimes not absolutely 100% translated. Because while it would make more sense to be absolutely translated, it either wouldn't make sense colloquially, or it just doesn't fit in the amount of time that the actor has to actually speak the line.
Before it's to the next.
Yeah, so after having done it, I was kind of like, now I understand. Okay. Forgiven. Yeah, it's really interesting. Yeah, now it's like, okay, all international movies, you're all forgiven now. Because now I get it.
Fine, I'll be less of an asshole about it.
Yeah, I was like, oh, okay, I get it now.
I don't mind being that asshole, man. Like, I don't mind.
Yeah,
like,
fine.
for certain things, like, I mean, I am, but I'm not. When it comes to translation, I get it, because it's really hard sometimes to get the full context in that small amount of time.
Yeah, for sure.
But can we talk about on these streaming networks when you type in horror and you're going through the list and it's like, hold the fuck up, that's not a horror movie.
Oh God.
When it gets miscategorized and it's like,
yeah, that's the problem. I feel like you guys ran out of shit. You guys are reaching.
You
guys have no real horror catalog, and you're like, this is kind of scary. Like,
his face is scary. All right.
Django could be scary, but there's blood in it.
He's
like,
lots of
no, it's
gore.
not.
That's not.
What?
You close your eyes, it's scary.
Yeah, stop it. You stop that right now, Netflix. Or you just get like trash.
Because I've seen even Maleficent, like the Angelina Jolie one
horror,
categorized on there, and I'm like, what the hell?
Horror
Is
for
it
like
just because she
5-year-olds.
looks like a little? I don't even know. Like,
Horrifying to children.
It has scary images.
to 3-year-olds, like
Yeah,
what?
It's the scary images, guys. Come on. The scary noises she makes when she turns into a dragon. I don't know. I haven't watched
It's those creepy sharp cheekbones that she has.
That's scary enough for me. I don't want to get cut.
Yeah,
There
they
you
probably
go,
didn't
right?
have to do too many prosthetics on that either. She's got killer bones.
This is true.
This is true.
This is true. Those things are like real sharp.
She's her own weapon in the zombie apocalypse. She just shakes her face around, stabs people.
Well, I got to ask you guys a question. When do you remember watching your first horror movie? Like, what was your first foray into horror? How old were you? If you can remember the situation, like what was it? Like, what started the itch?
I was 2. I don't remember it, but I know that I was 2 because my mom had shown me The Lost Boys when I was young.
Wow.
And for years, like, you know, kids nowadays are like, I'm Elsa. And they go around, like, no, I was walking around introducing myself as a toddler. I'm Star. And she thought it was cute to hey, ask her who she is. Ask her what her name is. And her friends would ask, what's your name? Star. I seriously, I was Star. So
did you always have like Tim Capello in the back of your head, like singing, I still believe? Did you have that?
shaking his oily buff body.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no. And like my mom does that for all the kids in our family though. She will show them horror movies young and I'm like, you cannot do that. Like that's gonna fuck up these children. She's like, you're fine. And I'm like, but am I? Am I really fine?
There you go. If they're not scared of this, then they're ready for life.
Yeah, and I honestly, because Blockbuster was the thing then, like, as I got older and she would have, like, these little, like, get-togethers with her friends at the house, she's like, you hang out in my room, you can watch whatever, you know, horror movies, but the deal is you have to go to bed in your own room and you have to cover your eyes during any inappropriate adult scenes. And I'm like, all right, Mom.
Okay, I'd say those are respectable. Those are respectable rules.
For real. And so I would go to Blockbuster and pick out like six movies, and because that was my thing for the weekend. Cool. And yeah, and then that's what I would do. And I had like a horror, like in the horror section, I had like I would slip a piece of paper in where I left off, and on the shelves, and then just like go through, and then pick something off the new wall because you know they were more expensive than the ones in the shelves.
Oh,
So
you're
it's
one
like
of
I picked
those.
one
then.
on the wall.
Okay. slipping the papers in. I used to work at
little piece of
Blockbuster,
paper.
so we had people like that. I'm like, what the fuck is this paper? And I'd take it out. Like,
You ruined our method.
that's their
There's
problem.
like an 11-year-old saying like, man, I saw Pet Sematary like 4 times
I
already.
don't
What the F?
understand what's going on.
Keep watching this stupid car movie. I don't want to see this car movie anymore.
Got something for you, mommy. Like, fuck you, bitch.
Tired of hearing about this Christine bitch. Just take her
I
to
know, I'm
the
tired of this
junkyard
car.
already.
Gosh. I could have swore I made it past C.
Turn that bitch into parts. Come on.
And does that mean she haunts all the cars she's put into?
There you go.
Ooh.
That's the sequel that never happened.
I don't think it needed to happen.
No, it
How
didn't.
many basket cases are there? Like, damn.
They got a lot of baskets. What the fuck?
God, there's always this weird creepy thing. I think I've seen this movie like 8 times. Is somebody moving my paper?
Right.
Shit. Stuck watching Basket Case over and over again. Because John keeps moving their paper.
I know, it's true.
They're stuck in a
the
Pumpkinhead
basket.
time warp.
Oh, but I would be
Watching
okay with that.
Pumpkinhead over and over again.
I love Pumpkinhead. I have a Pumpkinhead
That was a
t-shirt.
good one. That was a fun one. I like that one a lot.
And because I did alphabetically, though, on the shelves, I didn't skip. So I was young watching some ones I shouldn't have been watching, like Hellraiser and Pumpkinhead and Nightmare on Elm Street. And I was young, and I'm like, Mama said I have to sleep in my own room, but I couldn't help it. I'd watch it. I'd be terrified in my own fucking room. Like, I got to power through this because I want to be able to rent more next week. I could do it.
I hear you, man.
Never go to sleep. And I wonder why I'm an insomniac.
Yeah. What about you, man? What was your first foray into the horror realm?
Same as Ashley. I'm pretty sure I was 2. I don't know for sure, but American Werewolf in London. My mom and my dad, they were married at that point, I guess. I don't know, but whatever. They couldn't find a babysitter, so guess who had to come along? Little old Johnny here. So
Get out of here!
yeah.
You saw it in the theater?
in the theater, yeah.
What?
And then I remember watching it, like my grandparents had like this home projector type thing, and they somehow got a copy of it later on, and we'd watch it downstairs in their basement. And so yeah, it was pretty cool. So my mom kind of introduced me to that one, not really purposely, but whatever. And then growing up, my aunts would always take us to watch movies that we weren't supposed to. Of course, my grandma thought Ghostbusters was too scary for us. Sorry, Graham, love you, but
Oh my god!
yeah. But yeah, no, I remember, like Ashley, going to the video store,
That's awesome.
staying at cousins' houses, renting all the scary movies, because that's just what you do.
Very
You stay
cool.
up all night and you watch Freddy Krueger, you watch Halloween, you watch
yeah.
all of those damn things. And yeah, so it's pretty fun.
Nice. That's awesome. Gotta give shout outs to the moms.
Right?
That was one of the things I hated, though. My mom let me watch all these, but my friends were not allowed to. Most of my friends, the parents are like, they can't watch more than PG, okay? Where they're not PG-13 allowed yet. And it's like,
Whips.
so what are we gonna watch? Bambi? I don't understand. Like,
PG-13 didn't exist when I was younger.
it was a thing.
Oh.
So yeah, so I keep forgetting. I
That's
mean, you're not that much
funny.
younger than me, but you're still younger than me. That's just funny that like PG-13 wasn't a thing when I was younger. It was like just G, PG, and then R barely. But yeah, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What about you,
That's
Rob?
cool. That's
What
cool.
was your first foray into it?
I wouldn't be surprised if my lament configuration into horror was around that age. I mean, that I can remember. I remember like being 4 or 5 ish, and I remember very clearly watching 2 movies. And these I remember watching, one because I asked my mom to watch it because I just saw it and it looked cool, which was The Toxic Avenger. And we watched that one together. And she didn't ask me to close my eyes, but I couldn't question when adult themes happened. So it was just like, if it happens, you just stare straight at the TV, don't make mention of it, don't acknowledge it, and just wait till it's over. And once it's over, you're back in the movie and that's it. It's like it never happened. So that's kind of how that happened. And she didn't say anything. It was just known. We had a silent agreement. It was like,
Don't
you're gonna see shit that you shouldn't see, and don't ask about it. Done. And then I remember Friday the 13th. Friday the 13th 2, I believe it was the second one. That one she picked out and we saw together. And and then from there, like it was same as you, Ash. We didn't have a Blockbuster. We had a West Coast Video.
Oh yeah, okay.
We used to go there, and she would go check out the action adventure stuff, and I lived in the horror, and that's pretty much where I picked out what I wanted to see. No Sesame Street or kids stuff for me. It was horror movies and action. And,
follow that
80s,
bird,
90s
huh?
action. Yeah, no, not at all. I mean, I don't think I saw Sesame Street until like actually saw it until my kids were watching it. Like that's when I first started watching Sesame Street. But yeah, no, I never grew up on it. I always watched like full on movies. Like I learned to like speak watching Beverly Hills Cop.
Oh, I love Axel Foley.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like my mom, she was just like, yeah, you were just like a little toddler. You would watch the movie, you'd take the VHS, you'd hit rewind to the beginning, and then you'd press play and you'd watch it again.
Yep.
And she said that she got sick of the movie because like I would watch it like 3 or 4 times in a row. So go figure.
Do you know they're making another Beverly Hills Cop?
Yes, they are.
It's been too long, but I'll watch it.
I love
I'm
Axel.
I'm gonna watch
so
it.
I have to watch
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch it, but I'm hesitant about what may come of it.
Man, this has been fun. I can't believe time like super flew by. And we went everywhere. Like I know we were
All
going to
over.
talk about spooky, but I love that we deviated to film because ultimately we're just geeks of film. Like that just we love film, and I love having people on that have that same dorky passion for it because it's being able to go in because usually, like you said, you read the situation, it's like, oh my god, this person their eyes are glossing over, they are not about that life. So it's nice to have people to talk to about it.
Yeah, because I mean, I feel like the horror movie fan is different than like the movie fan. Like you can't say there's somebody that's like, I'm an action movie fan. Oh, did you see this action movie? Like, no, like there's people that enjoy them, but they don't necessarily have a passion for them like horror fans do. Like we actually have a passion for it, and every rendition of it. And because there's so many different technically lanes of horror because you have your psychological ones, you got your sci-fi ones, you got your kind of supernatural ones. Zombies is its own living vein. Like there's the vampire ones.
The monsters,
so it's like you could even
everything.
like you could be fans of a specific type of creature and find a slew of movies that are that are lined up behind it. And I think that's so awesome. Like I don't think there's any other genre that really kind of has that much like that much swing in terms of like what it is that you're interested in or what it is that that scares you. It's like, oh, you know what, ghosts don't really scare me, I'm not into that. Paranormal Activity, not that great. Oh, so you like psychological? Cool, because there's tons of those that'll just really mess with your head, or vice versa. And it's kind of like, no, I'm not about that. I'm like vampires. It was like, all right, cool. Well, don't watch Twilight. Watch
But those aren't vampires.
this instead. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, it's like there's good movies that you can watch that are vampire movies. You know what I'm saying? That aren't mainstream-esque. That would still scratch that itch. So I think I appreciate that.
We do have a pretty unique genre. Like you said, you don't go into action and it's like what type like all the subcategories. And I like too that when we do categorize, like we as a fandom, like as fans, a community, we subcategorize the genre, but that doesn't mean we separate it. It's not like, well, you're only a zombie fan or you're only a vampire. Like you said, we know our genre and it's like, oh, you don't like that? Okay, but you might like this, and then give a list of, we do it to kind of help iterate, help people with their experience. Like, oh, you like doll films, well, you're going to like this. Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
I don't like doll films, but.
There you go. But and that's the beauty of it. Like you can say you don't like doll specific horror films and still be a horror fan.
Yep.
You could be somebody who doesn't like zombie movies because maybe you just don't think they're interesting, but you can still be a horror fan because you like this kind of horror. And I think that's so cool, is that you can be a horror fan and still have preferences. You don't have to like all of it. You know what I mean? There are some that maybe go a little too far in your mind, or there's some that you're like, it's a little too tame. You know what I mean? So like there's something in there for everybody, and I think that's what's so awesome about the horror movie genre. You know.
I'm so glad you were able to come on, Rob. Is there anything you'd like to
thanks for having
promote?
me.
Any projects or any way that people can kind of follow what you're doing and your journey in the awesome world of Robb Moreira?
Yeah, I'm pretty easy to follow. If you just Google Rob with 2 B's, Moreira, Moreira, you'll see I'm like the first 4 pages of Google, so I'm pretty easy to find. But follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram. I tend to post different things on both, so I keep it pretty interesting depending on where you're following me at. But yeah, I mean, I'm kind of all over the place. Just keep an eye out. Sometimes I work on stuff that I can't talk about, so that's always tricky. Whatever's cool and new, like I can't talk about yet, but. But at the moment I'm on Yu-Gi-Oh! So if anybody's an anime fan, Yu-Gi-Oh! 7's on Hulu. I'm there.
Which character are
hear
you?
me as,
Are you multiple characters?
Professor Diggs. He's a dinosaur expert.
Nice. The dream job.
Yeah, and I do show up as another character, but his episodes haven't dropped yet.
Oh, so we can't talk about that.
Not yet.
So anyone that wants to know, where have I heard Rob's voice? He has actually been on quite a few commercials. You don't even realize that is Rob's voice. So check out his website. He's got links there for the different commercials he's done. And you're going to listen and be like, oh, shit. That is his voice.
I did that earlier. I was like, oh, okay. I remember that commercial.
I know that voice.
I was like, motherfucker. All right, got it.
Yeah.
Now I know why we got along, because I'm like, I've heard that voice somewhere. There's something familiar about you. So
It's like there's something about you makes me want to buy men's cologne. I don't know why. So weird. So odd.
that was,
So odd.
yeah.
Like I talk to you and it's not that I feel comfortable, but I really feel secure, like specifically cyber safe. Like there's something to do with Norton antivirus safe. Do you do the voice of Norton antivirus?
I feel cyber safe. I love that.
Actually.
Cologne and cyber safety.
There you go. My claims to fame.
I think there's more than that out there on your awesome resume. IMDb that shit. Rob is amazing.
I'm around.
He gets around. No
He's like
shaming
the
here.
wind. He's
I
everywhere.
get around. Do a little bit of everything. Yeah.
All right, Rob. Thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate you
Yeah,
joining
my pleasure.
us.
Hell yeah. Thank you. Thank you for having me. You guys are awesome. And, I mean, a chance to talk about, movies for an hour and a half. Yeah. Sign me up.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to have you give me that list of international films, and then we're going to watch them. We'll have you come back on, and we'll talk about those movies. If you're cool with that.
That would be so cool.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, just send us
for sure.
like the list of the ones you were telling us about, and even some extra ones that you think we might be into.
Yeah.
We'll watch it, and we'll do a part 2 and talk about those.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I love it. Yes. No, I think that would be really cool. That'd be
Sweet.
really cool.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
All right, John.
Sweet.
Bring us home.
All right. Thank you again, Rob. This has been absolutely fantastic. Anytime, like Ashley said, we can sit here and talk movies. And like you said, even, we can talk movies, geek out, and be just who the fuck we are. It's always a great time. And thank you, everybody, for listening to this episode of 3Haunted Podcast with your host. I'm John Thomas.
I am Ashley Lunar Goddess.
And if you have any episode suggestions, questions, comments, or concerns, maybe, I don't know, please feel free to email us at 300podcast@gmail.com. And if you haven't done so already, please like, follow, and subscribe to all of our social media. You don't want to miss one crazy moment.
I think there may be concerns on this one. We were talking about Gimps and Gore, baby. This is going to be one of those.
You guys need help.
Until next time.